Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so in this message, I am picking up on a quote unquote friend energy. I do feel like this is a very codependent friend. I've picked up on this energy recently, and you might have listened to some of those messages, and they might have resonated with you as well. So I'm hearing this friend say like, oh shoot, you found me. Because I'm seeing this person kind of like hiding out, and I'm seeing them like behind somebody else's like arm, kind of looking out through like their armpit kind of a thing. So they could be hiding behind somebody else. But I do feel like this friend is trying to kind of like keep their distance. And I feel like for some of you, this is like they're trying to keep their distance from you, especially if you are like the divine feminine or divine masculine to the person that they are quote unquote friend to. And I feel like this person is showing me that they intentionally kept their distance from you. They didn't get to know you. They weren't around you very much because they wanted to kind of be able to project onto you. They didn't want to get to know you because getting to know you would mean that they were confronted with the truth. And I feel like this friend already felt very confronted by some kind of truth or some kind of reality. I feel like it was some type of tower moment in regards of whoever this person is. And I feel like it's I'm hearing like a divine masculine or some kind of like masculine energy, because they saw and they felt this masculine leaving them behind and like getting stronger and maybe going more independent, moving away from them and like doing really well. And possibly this could have included like making some kind of strides with their like money or with like their career. So they could have gotten like a promotion, or they were starting to be recognized at work. It also could have been that maybe this masculine was like saving money, so maybe they didn't get a promotion or anything, but they've been saving money. And so then they got a car. And so now they're much more independent, or like they got their own apartment, or like they were working towards that. Like he was doing really, really well. And that was some kind of tower moment here for this friend. And I actually think like him meeting you, or like the introduction of your energy, and take this how it resonates. This is just the way the energy is. You could be any person in this schematic, in this relationship. This is just the way that it's coming through. But I think when this masculine met you, that was like a big tower, because I think that there was like a lot of denial, because I feel like this friend had some kind of fantasy, and it may have been like a romantic fantasy towards this masculine. I actually think, especially if their genders are different, that for a lot of them it was. But it doesn't have to be. It could just be like a platonic kind of fantasy or something. And instead they saw or they felt this masculine really, I think maybe getting something under control, like his dark side and his light side kind of balancing out or something, and moving forward at speed, like towards your connection. And it could have been because they had already, I think, been feeling that that's where it was like going, that this masculine was like moving away. And then he met you, and I think this friend kind of knew that like you were the person, or that he was gonna move towards you, or that it was like a Two of Cups kind of energy. And they felt on the outskirts of that. They felt kind of victimized by that, and they felt thrown out, and they felt cold, and they felt maybe even like a part of this masculine's broader circle, where maybe they used to hang out more, like more on one-to-one level, or like even in a closer kind of group. And instead they felt like they were like kind of on the outside looking in. And so they were confused by that, and they didn't know what their options were. They felt like really insecure. And I think they also felt like maybe they weren't doing as well. And this could have to do with like their job, their money, I don't know, like their independence things, like as this masculine was like getting better and better. So they were wondering like what their options were. And so I think they didn't say the truth about some kind of invite or reconciliation or reunion or something. They wanted to have some kind of party. And I think they kept that truth from themselves. I think that they told themselves that they were coming from a place of friendship, and that they were not sabotaging anything, and that this was all very well meaning, and that they had every right to. It's very territorial though, coming from this friend. It's not genuine friendship. It's not, I wish well for you. This is very territorial, and it's like, hey, get back here kind of an energy. But they're putting on like a smiling face, and I think they're lying to themselves in their mind in order to try and overlook the underbelly of the shadow work that they're meant to do. And this friend is kind of recognizing, they're kind of admitting to me in this, they're still hiding. They're still like hiding and kind of peeking through. It's reminding me of the underworld card in the Kim Kranz archetype deck, the round deck with like the diamond looking thing on the back, for some of you that have that or you've seen it. which is like, it is shadow stuff, and it looks like a compost pile where everything's breaking down and it's worms and stuff. And you just see this like one eye kind of peeking out. It's giving that, but it doesn't seem like as dark and ominous. This person's like kind of hiding behind, again, I'm seeing them like behind a person and like kind of peeking through like the bow of somebody's arm under their armpit or something. And they're just kind of, it is kind of cute, but this is not cute behavior, whatever it is that they've done. So they were really hiding from their own like underbelly, and they were saying, oh, this is like normal or something here. Because I think this masculine was getting free and going independent, maybe even from like a group of people here. And this person did feel angry about that. There is like an anger. They feel like kind of left behind. And so they had this fantasy. And I think it was like how this reunion was going to go, or how this like maybe party was going to go. It could have been involved like some kind of romance. For some of you, I feel like maybe these two did sleep together. That could have been like a tower moment for you. It also wouldn't have made any sense. It would have seemed like this friend kind of came out from nowhere. And that for some is, I think, part of the fantasy, because it was a way that they were going to reel him back in or like comfort themselves. I'm seeing somebody sucking their thumb now. It was a way that they were going to comfort themselves and say that he cares about them. But this is more than just like, oh, well, I don't know that you care about me, because it seems like they still are friends, even though they're distant friends, and that things are kind of happening very organically here. And a true friend can kind of let you breathe in and breathe out and like, you know, kind of go where you need to go. This friend's not like that. This is control, and this is like some kind of karmic contract. Now, I don't think this fantasy went the way that this friend thought. I feel like their fantasy got popped, and I think that hurt them. I think that they experienced some kind of Three of Swords moment. But keep in mind, this friend doesn't want to look at this like what I want to say is a divine feminine to this divine masculine. Like, it's either his like love interest that they could see him wanting to move towards, or it's his actual partner here. They intentionally kept themselves in like an enemy stance. Like, oh, this person is coming to take my spot. Instead of saying, clearly that's not my spot. I should process my feelings, my shadow, my underbelly. I should, if I can't love this person the way that I'm supposed to, which is at least for right now as a platonic friend. And I do feel this kind of like they're meant to be kind of distant platonic friends. I feel like it's Aquarius energy. So online friends, a part of like the network. So there's a neediness coming from this friend where they feel that I think they sense this masculine's going someplace or something. They don't want to feel left behind. So there could be some kind of abandonment wound or abandonment issue here, but they want to ride the coattails. They want to be associated here. There's a need that they're unable to meet for themselves. I think it's a social need. I don't know. And so they're not doing that. And they're kind of realizing that. They're telling me I should have been the King of Swords in a healthy way. I should have had like some kind of perspective. I should have been able to take some kind of bird's eye view about this, but they did not do that. And instead they kind of set up this fantasy here, but this did not go the way that they want. Even if these two like slept together or something, because they're not interested. Your person here is like not interested in this person, not in that way. And I don't think want to have to reject this person. And if this person could kind of stay in their lane and like be able to kind of manage that, which I do think they're showing me somebody wearing water wings, like in a pool. I don't think they're necessarily able to kind of tread that water by themselves. They're learning how to do that. And that's the point of this relationship, is to kind of accept where it is that you go and learn how to love, because love liberates, right? It's not controlling. And this person just knows how to be controlling, and it's not love. It's like leech-like behavior. It's attachment-like behavior. And so they broke their own heart here, but I think that they felt heartbroken, and there could have been some kind of fantasy or some kind of narrative about she's taking him away from me, when really this friend actually saw the writing on the wall. I think even before this divine feminine entered the picture. I think when they reached out to this masculine, they could have had some kind of sad sack story where they were saying like, I'm not doing very well or something, or it's to engender some kind of intimacy between the two of them, or try to reconcile that intimate space, or I need support. They're not supposed to be doing that. Karmically, they're not supposed to be doing that, because they're fine. I think that they genuinely are sad. I think it's to do with him. I think they want his attention. They want him close. That's not what they're saying. It's strategic. And I do think there might be some kind of sexual strategy here. He's kind of distant. He's very engaged with his emotional space, actually, because I feel like he's been doing really well for himself, or he's like, again, moving towards this divine feminine or divine masculine, like his a divine partnership here. And like he's finding a lot of balance, and he is gaining momentum, and he's supposed to. It's like he's merging onto some kind of highway of his life. This friend is not supposed to be saying, put your hazards on, go 35 miles an hour for me. It's not friendship. This is sabotage. And this friend is not really, they're kind of warming up to the idea that they are a saboteur, and that they have sabotaged, and that maybe subconsciously, that was not their intention, but subconsciously it very much was their agenda. They're giving me the word agenda, and they're kind of, now they're putting their head in their hands. They feel ashamed. They're crying. They're shaking their head. They're kind of like, I'm beside themselves. They're like, I can't believe that I would do this. I also don't think that they know exactly the way that their behavior is seen by this masculine and potentially by this divine feminine as being very disruptive, as being shocking, as being like this kind of tower moment. It could have, to maybe make somebody independent here where they're not supposed to be, or even to sabotage somebody's intuition. They could have thrown a spanner in the works here. This is all a ploy to just pull attention towards, I want to say, this like karmic friend, under the guise of it being like a loving space. There's maybe some kind of family energy here. And maybe that's part of the fantasy is like, oh, and we're going to be a family. But this is really icky. It's really, really icky. And I think that this friend has had to grieve this situation, or they've started to. They're kind of realizing that they've been strategic. This person's been in some strategic energy. And if you feel like, because I feel like they did something shocking, and it could have been sleeping with this person, or it could have just, I don't know. I feel like there's some kind of shocking realization here. They're showing me this kind of like sequence of tower moments, because I feel like definitely like the divine feminine or the divine masculine partner here is probably like, whoa, that's on some weird shit. That's on some weird behavior. What's going on here? And it's out of left field, because this friend, I don't think, was around this masculine when they were getting to know each other, because they'd already been kind of naturally and organically relegated to an Aquarius energy. And that's where they're meant to be. And they're supposed to put their focus somewhere else. But instead they're really focused on this masculine energy, because they're needy they're identifying him and making him responsible, or like the solution for some kind of inner need. It could be self-esteem. It could be love and belonging. And that's not his role. And it's not where their focus or attention is supposed to be. So I think it's the partner was like, whoa, and maybe broke up with this person, or had to have some kind of conversation here of like, this is not real friendship. This is on some weird behavior. This is a stage 5 clinger, or that's a very, that's a very sexual stance. You sleep with your friends? Or ever notice this person's body language? They always stand in between you and me. Or ever notice when they call you? I feel like somebody here maybe, or they just moved away. And then I feel like this friend, something here just didn't work out. It popped their fantasy in some way. And that could be like a lot of different ways. And then I also feel like this divine masculine that I'm picking up on also kind of realized, and I don't know at what time frame any of this happened, but also realized that this is on some weird shit. And I think realized that this friend did have this fantasy in regards of them, and did betray their partnership here in some capacity, or set out to, even if it wasn't successful, that this is some kind of karmic relationship, and there is some kind of karmic contract here between these two. And I think they had to grieve that. And I think maybe that was even private. I think they maybe had to strategically get away from this person and like maybe keep their distance. Like I'm seeing them burrow like some kind of tunnel here to kind of get away from this person in order to just have their emotions not be played with, and like just to regain their sense of balance in this situation. And I think that they have been working on, or have like made some kind of peace with who this friend is, and that they were strategic, and that they know that it comes from a place of like, they know it was strategic. They know it was intended to harm. They know it was intended to sabotage them in their progress of moving away. They know that it was kind of meant to engender a dependence from them, and to maybe like rekindle something in a way that this masculine did not consent to. They understand all of that. They've kind of processed through it. They understand that this person was kind of gunning for their partner, and maybe that did work and maybe it didn't. And I feel like they've had to process through that. And it's a lot of anger, and it's a lot of shock, and I'm feeling like tears, and also just shock and like just confusion, and like, wait a second. And I think they feel betrayed by this person, and they feel like they were living in la la land when they felt like this person was their friend and didn't have some kind of ulterior motive. They're kind of realizing this friend was romantically, I just heard obsessed with them, because this person's kind of like, who does something like that? I do feel there's whatever went on here. It's like, whoa. There's having a crush on somebody, and then there's whatever the fuck happened here, And so I feel like this person been processing through that. And I think that they have recently come to some kind of forgiveness or compassion within themselves about who this friend is and what they did, although they don't want to go back. Because they kind of feel like this friend needs to get a handle on it, and that also they have some kind of Ace of Cups energy away from them, and that that it's sticky, and that it's codependent, and that it's not real, and that this person, they kind of feel like it was never just coming from a genuine place. This quote unquote friend's friendship, they always wanted something more. They were hiding it. This isn't real friendship. And I do think this is progress for this masculine of like kind of understanding what real friendship is. And it's not necessarily, I think they don't really view, they understand that this friend like did a bad thing. They definitely understand that. And I feel like that's important for you to know if you feel like your relationship with sabotage here. They do understand that. They do have compassion. They see this person, as like kind of fighting their own demons and not being able to get a handle on them. They feel like it was a crush masquerading as friendship, and this person was trying to get close to them. And it was very strategic. They don't want it around them. They really don't. They're done with this friend. I don't think they consider this person a friend. I think it's tinted everything that's gone on before between them. They don't see this person as a friend, even in the past. They kind of recognize, that was some kind of karmic situation that I needed to come up out of, and realize that this person always had an ulterior motive towards me and wasn't honest about that, and hurt my relationship or tried to, under the guise of something else. So they're kind of moving away, but I do feel like, again, they've come to some kind of, genuine, forgiveness here. And then I feel like this friend, I'm just seeing them turn, because they were peeking at me, like through the arm. So now that I'm kind of saying all that, like, I think, like after you've had a really good cry and like you feel exhausted, but in a happy way, like in a good way where you're like, or like, it's the same kind of feeling if you've like done a long run or something, and like it feels good and like you feel accomplished and you feel kind of spent, but in a positive way afterwards. That's what I'm seeing from this friend, because I'm seeing their face all red, and it does feel like from tears and from crying. I also think it's from embarrassment, and I think that they were trying not to be seen. And I kind of go back to what I got in the beginning of like, oh shit, you found me. Oh shit, you saw me. I think there's embarrassment here. Like this friend is like, wow, I was nuts for butts. Like this person is kind of like, I was just out my mind. This particular friend that I'm picking up on, and not all the friend energies that I've picked up on in these readings are very self-aware or like, but this friend I think is embarrassed by, I just heard humiliation. They kind of feel like humiliated, but I don't think they're trying to run up on this masculine anymore. They kind of understand, listen, I've done enough, like I've done enough damage here. I need to leave him in peace, and his girlfriend or his wife, I also just heard, in peace. I need to leave these people the absolute hell alone, and I need to get myself sorted, And so this person, I think, is actually this. I feel like what happened here was a tower moment for everybody. It was shocking. It was out of the blue, everything that happened here. But I think it's kind of kicked everybody in the right direction. This masculine does seem to have processed through a lot regarding this karmic cycle here and found some kind of peace and like compassion. He is very much in his strength though. It's like an emotional strength. It's King of Cups kind of strength. He's very much like at a distance from this friend and will stay that way. I don't really think he even wants to speak to this friend because it's treacherous. He does recognize something here is treacherous. And I do think he's embodied in this protector energy, but it's like emotional protector. And it's him and his family is what I'm hearing. So he may well have a family. He may have actually moved on with this divine feminine. And he just feels like emotionally he's a protector now, and he knows how to do that, and he will do that, and it's not acceptable what was done here. And if there needs to be a choice made, which there didn't have to be, keep in mind there didn't have to be, and this masculine knows that. It was this karmic friend that made it be a choice to begin with. They needed to be on the outside of their life because they're not close. I think they also tried to maybe make their friendship seem closer than it was, but it was all just a strategy in order to weasel their way in, and they lied to themselves about that. And this masculine just kind of can't trust this person being close to them because they're not supposed to be close to them. And this masculine knows that he doesn't feel that pull to be close to this friend, not naturally. And so he's not there and he doesn't want to be there, but there is like peace. And this friend, I feel like, is on their own healing journey, and they're actually sorting themselves out. And actually, I am seeing it kind of sunny in this friend's like remit. I feel like they've already kind of cried and like emotionally because they felt like they were betrayed. This person betrayed themselves. I feel like this person thought that they were the victim. And I think that they kept their distance intentionally, at least on a subconscious level. There was very much an agenda here to keep away from this divine feminine or whoever this divine partner is so that they could project all over them and make them out to be the bad guy, even though they were the bad guy. And this person kind of knows that about themselves. So there's self-awareness here with this particular friend that I'm picking up on. There's self-awareness and they're processing through all of that. But it feels like they've already kind of processed through it emotionally, if that makes sense, because they had to process through the fantasy and the lie that like them and this masculine were meant to be and that they were nope. And I actually feel like before this divine feminine entered the picture, they were already on the outs. They were already at a distance. because his path was already shaping up to be away from her or him or whoever this is already before this divine feminine. She wanted to blame the divine feminine instead of saying, I'm not supposed to be with this guy. And I'm weirdly needy towards him, and I need to figure out what that need is. And I need to figure out how to meet it in a healthy way, and where, with full respect for all parties involved and mutual consent, because I feel like this friend entered into some kind of covert contract, and they felt entitled. They felt territorial, and they felt ownership, and they were not invited to feel that over this masculine. This masculine did not feel the same way. I don't think he really fed into it. I think he fed into the friendship, and he thought it was like platonic love. And so I think allowed this karmic close. But once he figured out what it really was, I think it was just a 180 degree turnaround, and he got with the program pretty quickly here. And I really don't think this guy is keen on having anybody around him that's going to harm his loved ones, especially not in like some kind of tower. It's very much, you need to, I understand that you're a person and that you are dealing with whatever you're going to deal with, but I'm also not going to have a threat around, I'm not my partner or myself, because this partner is a divine partner, and he also knows it would be a heartbreak for him to lose this soul partner. That's where his natural feeling is, and is like very protective. So everybody here, I think, has been kind of awakened from some kind of fantasy. This masculine from feeling this person was a friend from a neutral place, and this friend having this hidden agenda and this covert contract towards this masculine, I want to say really from the beginning, and feeling caught out in it. They didn't want to be caught out in it because it keeps the fantasy alive. And I think that they're realizing that they were really determined to preserve this fantasy. A part of them knew that if they had talked to this masculine about it, he would have shot it down. If they spoke out loud in exactly plain English what they were feeling, they knew that people around would say, no, that he clearly is in love with this person or whatever. They knew that. So they never did. And instead they just kind of allowed this to grow in the darkness, in this like kind of anaerobic environment. They didn't let the sunlight in. And part of that sunlight would have been to get to know this, if they were genuinely his friend, which is why Spirit moved this person to the side. They were supposed to be from the side, and they could have kept tabs on this masculine though in that way. And Spirit, I feel like Spirit was moving them away from each other because in its infinite wisdom, because they kind of knew that was going to be a trigger here. This divine feminine, or this masculine's divine partner coming in. So anyways, I think I'm going to leave that there. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.